What's going on, YouTube? Back at it again! Fourth night of Halloween. That's right, 4 nights. We've been doing this 4 nights in a row now. So, the last couple was a little more adult-oriented, to where this time I decided to go a little more family-oriented. So I decided to do Goosebumps, which came out in October of 2015. So it's not a necessarily old movie, it's still fairly on the newer side. And if you've got kids or family or anything and you want to watch something together without the wholeness of gratuitous amounts of whatever, this is the movie for you. We all remember that old show. I believe I was in 5th grade. Yeah, a long time ago, like late 90s. Great show. It rivaled Are You Afraid of the Dark. However, I felt Are You Afraid of the Dark was a bit more scarier, a little more frightening imagery than per se Goosebumps was. Goosebumps was more kind of a little more lighter tone, but it still had enough to where you're kind of like, ooh, that's creepy. So they decided to make a movie, which is fine. It's like, whatever, bring it on. Jack Black as R.L. Stine. Jack Black's a pretty good actor all around. He definitely can embody certain things, and he the way he embodies it and does it and sells it to you, I can buy into it. I can believe it. I can believe he is R.L. Stine, that he was writing all these books. It makes sense to me. I can totally buy into that. The movie is by no means scary. It really isn't. It's if anything, it's more for like that 90s kid. You're a 90s kid and you watch this movie, it's kind of like, yeah, I remember watching that, on Saturday morning or after school. I remember reading those books, and you get to see those little snippets and those tidbits, and they're all meshed together for like an ultimate scareness to it. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to worry with bad language or gore or anything of that nature, or no real sexual content. Yeah, there's a little crude humor, some toilet humor, but that's kind of given when you got that more kind of family-oriented movie. That sounds weird to say, but it just seems whenever there's like the kid movie, there's always the jokes for the adults in there, and then that's how that goes. I just kicked something underneath this desk, and it went clink. I'm just messing with you. The characters were believable. It does take place high school. Yeah, high school. And just rattled. Yeah, it's high school. And I know some people are like, oh, the kid actors. Like, okay, here's my biggest beef with people that watch movies these days is, what are you expecting? If it involves kids, teenagers, if you go anywhere and see kids and teenagers today, they're going to act and do a certain way of things and be a certain way. And when you see that movie, it's just like, I can buy into that. You've got the little scaredy cat kid, and you've got the new kid that moved into the town, and he, unfortunately, as the movie puts it, he's stuck with the weird scaredy kid, and they form a friendship. And then also all this crazy stuff starts happening, and it turns out they actually make really good pair of friends, good team up. It just makes sense. I don't understand. Like, I don't need some crazy off the wall stuff. It's like, nah, be like the Goonies. Just roll with it. Like, I'm here. I'm watching. I'm excited. I'm entertained. Movie's a lot of fun. It's got the monsters, and it's got Slappy the dummy in there, and that's what the premise is all about, Slappy. And I believe in the old show, there's like 3 or 4 Night of the Living Dead. I know there was 3. I do know that for sure. There might have been a 4th one, like a double-parter. But that seems kind of like the Goosebumps go-to thing, and it works. Because he's got the hands, and he's mobile, and he's, an entity kind of thing, and he's up to no good and mischief, so it's easy to buy into. And for Halloween, it works. It's got all the Halloween tropes in it. It's got all the monsters and the scares, and it's perfect. You want like a fun night, family, kids, or even, you and your friends, like, chugging a couple back and be like, the 90s. It's perfect. 4th night of Halloween, Goosebumps. Perfect. It's about really all I can say with it. I mean, it wasn't like a movie like I needed some super substance to it. I mean, it's literally just like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch an interesting collab of all the books that R.L. Stine wrote, all the monsters and themes to it kind of formed together in one new book, as it were. Perfect. Like, honestly, like, what more would you want out of it? Being what it is, though, it is geared more for the younger audience, not so much the adult audience. Put together very well. The acting is not too bad. The musical score is not too bad. The graphics, some of the graphics you can tell is CG, and then some of it you kind of can't. But it does lean a little more heavy on the CG side, so it's kind of like, it would have been nice to have seen some costume, to see people in prosthetic or maybe the makeup. I mean, I guess they figured the CG was just easier and cheaper to go. You know, that is what that is. It would have been nice to have seen that, because, you know, with movies, we can do it. We see it all the time, so that would have been nice to have seen, but we didn't get that. So this movie, like I said, is still on the newer side, so you can't say, well, it aged well. It's still new, and it still works, and it, you know, my kids loved it. That I thought was a lot of fun to watch, and then they're asking all these questions, like, you said this was around when you were a kid? And I show them on Netflix, like, this is boring. I'm like, well, you're boring, because this was awesome, okay? This is what we did after school and on the weekends, was Goosebumps. Take the books and go over Goosebumps, and it's got, like, little goosebumps on it, you know? They're like Braille. Like a Jedi. So rating this movie, for being what it was, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Well, it was a lot of fun. Reliving my childhood and seeing all that 90s stuff kind of be like brought into a new generation. It still had some lacking things for me. It would have been nice to have seen not so CG heaviness, more costume. It would have been nice to have a little more on the scare side and not so much the lighthearted humor side. And, you know, like I said, the acting, it wasn't nothing special. It was just pretty basic forward. Jack Black was, I think, probably the best saving grace of the movie, because you bought into his character. Like, you know, R.L. Stine, this is, I think, how he would be if this was like a real situation. So, you know what? We'll recount 7. We'll go 7.5 out of 10. 7.5. Yeah. Average movie. Perfect. 4th night of Halloween, Goosebumps. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you have seen it, shoot those comments down below. What did you think of Goosebumps? What was your favorite Goosebumps book? There's quite a few of them, so throw them out in there. I'm curious to know. Love to have a little chat. Be a lot of fun. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and please do that. I'd really appreciate it. And then like this video and favorite it, share it, all that other fun stuff in between. And I'll be back with you tomorrow night for the 5th night of Halloween. I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm going to be watching, but I'm watching something, and I'll bring that to you, and I can't wait to talk about it and share it with y'all. And remember, guys, you heard it here at the source.